At 11:18 p.m., Hanoi's air raid sirens began to scream. Families ran into shelters, soldiers gripped rifles they could not use, and the night sky over North Vietnam suddenly filled with a sound no one could mistake: the deep, rolling thunder of American B-52 bombers. They called it Operation Linebacker II, but history would remember it as the Christmas bombing. For 11 days in December 1972, the United States unleashed the most intense aerial bombardment since World War II. The goal was simple and brutal: force North Vietnam back to the negotiating table and end a war that had already consumed millions of lives. Wave after wave of B-52 Stratofortress bombers flew in perfect formation, invisible to the naked eye, dropping tons of explosives that turned entire districts into firestorms. From the ground, it looked as if the sky itself was exploding. But this was not a one-sided massacre. North Vietnamese air defense crews, young men operating Soviet-supplied SA-2 surface-to-air missiles, waited patiently in the darkness. They had studied the bombers' routes, timing, and altitude for months. When the radar screens lit up, they fired. Missiles tore upward like flaming spears. One B-52 was hit. Then another. Crews ejected into the burning night, parachutes glowing orange against the flames below. Some pilots survived and were captured. Others never made it out. By the end of the operation, 15 B-52s had been shot down, a shock to the U.S. Air Force, which believed the bombers were nearly untouchable. Yet the bombing worked. On January 27, 1973, the Paris Peace Accords were signed. American combat troops would leave Vietnam. The war, at least for the United States, was over. Hanoi still stood, but it would never forget the nights when the sky burned and the war came from above.